So the new boss information, man, this is gonna be so much fun. Holy. Oh boy, I'm actually excited. Alright, well, let's look at these then. I'm actually hyped. What the hell? Well, I can't really read these. Where was this released? Can I... Like, is this official or is it a leak? What's going on? Okay, so... Let me get rid of that. And there. Okay. What else was there? Oh yeah, the 10x. 10x to Hanorag, Dio, Necmo, and Lady Kimmy. This is a pretty baller 10x. I can't lie. For PvE, this is a pretty good 10x. I don't really generally get hyped about 10x's for PvE or any PvE sort of thing. But this is a pretty good PvE 10x. Yo, Hope, what's up, man? What's good? We're just chilling. Looking at this new information that just dropped. We've got the 10x info, and then we've got the new bosses that we're going to be looking at right now. We're going to go through the new bosses and see what they're cooking up. Okay, let's get into it. What are we doing? Tainted Fyro. This is going to be the new Fire Knight boss, right? The hard dungeon Fire Knight boss. Let's go through his abilities. I think we take this as we read this as we normally read kits. We start with passives and then go up rather than starting with the A ones, right? So he's got Almighty Strength, which basically reduces enemy max HP to a 10%. You can't do more than that. Awakened Weakness decreases the damage inflicted by the boss for each awakening level on the target champions. Wow, that's very interesting. So the more awakened your champions are, the higher the soul level of the champion is, they take less damage. That's very interesting. 2.5% for levels 1 to 2, and then 3 to 6 they take 5% less damage, stacks up to 25%. Decreases the damage inflicted by the boss for each awakening level on the target champion. So how does this scale? For levels 1 and 2 is 2.5%, and for 3 to 6 is 5%. So are we saying each champion's awakening, you basically add them up and the damage reduction happens, like if it's an AoE hit, it happens across the whole team. So you count up how much ascensions you have, and if they're awakenings you have, it's 1 to 2. Wait, there's 2 parts. Hold on, what's the second part? Increases the damage received by the boss for each awakening level on the attacking champions. Decreases damage inflicted by the boss for each awakening. Decreases the damage. Oh, so it's like bad to have your champions awakened. Decreases the damage inflicted by the boss for each awakening level on the target champion. Decreases damage inflicted. So you do less damage if you have awakening. Why? Wait, I thought it was going to be a good thing. I thought they were going to encourage getting souls, but this is the opposite. Decreases the damage inflicted by the boss for each. Okay, I'm stupid. Wait, decreases the damage inflicted by the boss for each awakening level on the target champion. Okay, so that is right? You take less damage because you're awakened. Decreases the damage inflicted by the boss. Right, okay, so you take less damage if you have awakening. Increases the damage received by the boss for each awakening level on the attacking champion.
Huh?
Okay, so it is a buff to having awakening. What's this? Basically what they're doing is they're incentivizing awakening on champions, or like souling them or whatever, right? I read this wrong a few times, but basically what they're saying is that the boss inflicts less damage on you if you're awakened, and he receives higher damage if you're awakened. That's basically what it's saying. Yeah, it's kind of like weirdly worded. Damage reduction for your team, and second is damage buff for you. Right. Damage by the boss is decreased and damage by you is increased by 2.5% for 1 to 3. So damage inflicted by the boss for each awakening on target. This is worded so weird, to be honest. It's worded really weirdly, but that decreases the damage inflicted by the boss. So the boss does less damage to you, 2.5% for each level 1, level 2. And if you have level 3 to 6, it decreases the damage. And obviously you can go to 25%, which is, you know, I guess you can't even get higher even if you tried, right? Because 5 champions at level 3 would be like 25. So I guess you can't go higher unless these two stack, which I don't think they do. So yeah, you can't get more than 25%. I don't know why they would put this here, but Plarium like to confuse us. Okay, Tainted immunity. Immune to stun, sleep, provoke, block active skills, block passive skills, fear, true fear, and petrification debuff. Also immune to HP exchange effects, HP balancing effects, turn meter decrease effects, and cooldown increasing effects. Makes sense, although there is like a turn meter reduction mechanic with this boss, but we'll get into that later on. But yeah, this is his immunities. Quell the Flames. Quell the Flames. Instantly removes any freeze debuffs placed on Tainted Fyro. So you can see he's not immune to freeze. So you can freeze him, but instantly gets removed. Decreases Tainted Fyro's turn meter by 15% for each freeze debuff placed on him. When attacked, destroys the attacker's max HP by 1% per hit if the Divine Shield is currently active. Okay, so this is going to be his shield that you have to like break before you can do damage or debuffs or anything else. Just like the normal Fire Knight, right? Just like the normal Fire Knight, if you hit into this guy's shield, you're going to get max HP decreased by 1% per hit. So the more hits you're doing, the HP is getting decreased. Okay. Blood Flame Cloak starts the battle with a Divine Shield. While active, the shield reduces the damage Tainted Fyro receives by 80% and prevents Tainted Fyro from receiving any debuffs or being affected by other skill effects. This shield cannot be removed by skills that remove buffs. Okay, so he has 80% damage reduction, means you're not going to do any damage. It's kind of like going to be like, yeah, you can't do much damage to him through his Divine Shield, they call it. It can't be removed by a strip or anything like that. They're just making that clear. Each hit Tainted Fyro takes decreases the strength of the shield. The shield will be broken when hit enough times. The shield regenerates every turn. So once his turn meter goes to full, once he takes a turn, his shield is going to go back up to the max stat or the max number of hits it needs to take. If Tainted Fyro starts a turn with the shield active, Tainted Fyro will attack all enemies one time. The attack will destroy each enemy's max HP, also heals at the start of every turn. Okay, so this is the same as normal Fire Knight, right? If he has the shield and he takes a turn, he actually does an AoE and then he does another attack. So you want to make sure either you can tank or you can break his shield consistently enough. Now, Last Fire Knight I think Last Fire Knight also heals at the start of every turn too. The healing, I'm not sure if you bring his shield down, if he still heals or not. But I know he does healing at certain points. I think even if he doesn't have a shield, he heals too. The value of the heal and the damage dealt increases according to the strength of the shield at the time of the attack. Okay, so the highest stacks of shield he has remaining, that's how much healing and damage he's going to do. He does heal a bit even with shield down. Okay, so it scales with higher number of shield, right? So it's the same thing. He's going to heal up and do more damage and heal more if he has a lot of stacks on his shield left. Now, it doesn't say the number of shields, but it has confirmed what it is because they showed it to us, right? In the video, they show us it's going to have like 21 hits to bring the shield down. So it's going to be a massive number of hits that you need to do before you can bring the shield down. So people are thinking maybe like putting up a counterattack and tanking the first hit. And then after the first hit, they want to set up their freezes and their debuffs and their hits. Because doing 21 hits and then keeping the shield down might not be the play. It might be do a counterattack plus reflect damage. because if you guys know, reflect damage, when the boss hits into reflect damage, the hits that reflect count as each single hits on the shield, right? So you can go reflect damage with counterattack and bring the shield down, and then you can start doing your debuffs and everything else. But we'll see what people bring out, you know, what kind of strategies people go around. But yeah, the highest stage is said to be 21. I think the highest stage is going to be 21 hits into the shield. So level 10, it's going to be 21. And they're probably going to ramp it up. At level 1, because we have 10 stages, I don't think stage 1 is going to be just straight up 21 shields. I think it's going to be, you know, maybe 7. Actually, maybe they start from 12 and then increase by 1 each time. It's Plarium. You think they're going to do 21 shields on hard level 1? That would be funny. But if they did that, then, you know, everybody would have to just build the meta straight away, right? Which isn't great. If they do like so many different number of things earlier on in the dungeon, you'd be able to use like different stuff. But when you get to the top, then you need to run really good stuff. It says it's immune to skill effects. You can freeze him. You can freeze him and do decreased turn meter by freezing him. So people are kind of, in their old finite head, they're thinking about controlling this guy's turn meter. We'll have to see how effective it is, but we'll see. I will use the Fat Man for sure. Yeah, Farrakhan will be interesting. His ally attack is good. Ally attackers, counter attackers, reflect damage is going to be good. I'm thinking maybe like a reflect damage. I don't know if there's a champion that does reflect damage and counter attack. I can't think of any. I know there's that one champion, right? Who's that? Angar, right? Angar does reflect damage plus a single target counter attack on himself. I don't know if he would be viable or an option. He does reflect damage AoE and then counter on himself, sort of thing. Yo, Grizzly, what's up?
Whoop. Here I come.
Just got my first Pure Soul Aethel. Nice. Okay. Corrupting Blaze. Attacks all enemies. Places decreased speed debuff and a 60% decreased defense debuff for 3 turns. Destroys enemy max HP by 15% off the damage dealt. Okay. So, this is his only active ability, right? Not his default skill, but his ability that's going to go on cooldown. So he's going to open with this attack, right? Because everything else is a passive. The Blood Flame Cloak, Quell the Flames, these are all passive. So this is the ability you can expect the boss to do when he gets his first turn. He gets his first turn, he's doing decreased speed and decreased defense. 2 debuffs that you don't want to take. Decreased defense, you could probably live with if you take 3 turns or have a cleanser. But decreased speed could like mess up your speeds or something like that, right? So block debuffs is going to be quite good. Brogni, I'm thinking Brogni for the reflect damage plus block debuffs, right? Brogni might be interesting because I don't know how the reflects are going to work. Like, I don't know how the reflects are going to work, but maybe you can bring Brogni for reflect damage plus block debuffs. He'll give you protection against the first hit. He'll give you like 5 hits into the shield. And he will make sure you don't get decreased speed or decreased defense. So maybe something like Brogni could be good. Feels like waves are going to be more annoying than the boss. I mean, if you can see the waves, you can see the waves. 2 Cold Heart plus ally attack pretty much enough for the shields. But you also need to deal with the waves. And you need to deal with the kind of like the turn meter of the boss too. Ronda Gobert. Ronda, huh? We'll see. All the waves will be War Chief. Imagine. War Chief waves. Balthus waves. That'd be interesting. Okay. His A1. Crushing Fire Strike. Attacks all enemies. Destroys enemies max HP by 15% of the damage dealt. When destroying max HP, will ignore shield buffs. Okay. Interesting. So so the damage he does into shield, he destroys your max HP for that amount. Bit weird. Little bit weird. I don't know how this is gonna work. If he hits into shield, the damage he did to the shield, he would destroy your max HP for that amount. That's how I'm reading this. But when it comes out, we'll have to just, see it. But how I'm reading it, it says the max HP destruction will go through shields. But it says damage dealt. Damage into shield isn't really calculated as damage dealt, but we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. But that's how his A1 goes. That's his A1. That is the new Fire Knight, boys. New Fire Knight. 21 stack of shields on the highest boss. Probably going to start somewhere around 15 on stage 1. Goes up to 21 when he gets to stage 10. He can have his turn meter reduced if you land a freeze on him. He does like a 50% turn meter reduction. What else is there? The rest is pretty much the same. He's immune to turn meter reduction, like pure turn meter reduction. You can't do like a law into him anymore. So we'll see. And this sort of like awakened weakness, this is a passive I wasn't expecting. Awakened weakness is not a passive I was expecting. So the more awakened your champions are, the better they will perform in this dungeon. We'll have to see if this is a trend across all of the dungeons. We are going to go through the rest of them. So that's Fire Knight. Next up, let's take a look at Hellrazor. No, let's look at Spider next. Tainted Skavag. Tainted Skavag. Okay. So, Almighty Strength damage taken from enemy max HP nukes cannot exceed 10%. We all know that. Awakened Weakness, now I've gone through this, decreases damage inflicted by the boss by 2.5% for any champion that's level 1 to 2, and then 5% for 3 to 6. These stack, and they kind of count as like an overall damage reduction. An increase of damage is the same way too. Your damage increased by 5% for each level 1, level 2 awakened champion on your team, and then 10% for 3 to 6. The damage increase can go up to 50%. The damage reduction can go up to 25%. Tainted immunity, this we read through before. It's basically you can't land any hard debuffs or like hard CC control debuffs. Stun, this time you can't land freeze on Tainted Pyro or Tainted Fyro. We could land the freeze, but now here we won't be able to land freeze, sleep, provoke, block active skills, passive skills, fear, true fear, and petrification debuffs. Also immune to HP exchange, HP balancing, and cooldown increase. Okay, viral constitution. Immune to heal reduction, speed, decreased speed, HP burn debuffs, as well as turn meter reduction effects. Whenever a HP debuff is activated on Tainted Spiderlings, heals Tainted Skavag by 1% of her max HP. Whenever a Tainted Spiderling dies, inflicts damage to Tainted Skavag equal to 3% of her max HP. So HP burn is 3% damage. However, it's only 2% now because she heals up by 1%. Is it really impossible to kill her or kill this big spider with HP burns just because the HP burn damage has been reduced by 1%? Okay, moving on. So yeah, I don't know if burns is going to be completely gone and dead. We'll have to see. Maybe if he can run double detonation with a reset or something to that effect, you could get somewhere, but we'll see. We'll see. Tainted Brood passive. Spawns 6 Tainted Spiderlings at the start of the round. So the normal spider does the same thing. Spawns 2 Tainted Spiderlings at the start of each enemy champion's turn. Spawns 4 Tainted Spiderlings at the end of Tainted Skavag's turn. Tainted Skavag can have a maximum of 10 Spiderlings in the battle at the time. So that is pretty much the same. This is pretty much the same as normal spider. Where, you know, 6 spiderlings spawn at the start of the round, then 2 more drop when you take first turn, and then on your second turn, or your second champion that goes, 2 more spawn, making the complete 10 spiderlings for the boss. Tainted Skavag consumes all remaining tainted spiderlings at the start of each turn. If Tainted Skavag consumes tainted spiderlings, she will not consume them on the following turn. Okay. Right, so it has like a 1-turn cooldown sort of thing. Or like a 2-turn cooldown. Tainted Skavag heals by 3% of her max HP for each tainted spiderling consumed, and permanently increases her attack by 10% for each tainted spiderling consumed. So this is pretty much the same. Heals from lifesteal artifacts and skills that heal based on damage inflicted with only heal champions by 15% of the standard amount when attacking Tainted Skavag on a tainted spiderlings. This reads to me exactly how the normal boss is. Tainted Brood passive, this is just basically the passive of the normal dungeon. I don't think they've added anything here. Maybe the numbers are slightly different, but from what I can see, the other boss had the same passive. So a bit of copy paste there, which is fine. A bit of like, you know, familiar abilities, they're not that bad, you know. Okay, Torpfie. Attacks all enemies, decreases the turn meter by 30% if a target's turn meter is fully depleted. Places a sleep debuff for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be resisted. This champion, like, this boss looks the same. This boss actually just looks the same. Am I wrong? This boss is basically the same. But now you just can't do burn to it. Like, they reduced the burn damage. That's basically it. Is there anything else? Attacks all enemies, damage increases by 15% if the target is under poison debuffs. This looks the same. You can nuke spiderlings. Yeah, killing spiderlings to do damage to the boss will be interesting. Spiderlings dying 3% damage, right? So maybe the strat would be something like, I don't know. I feel like this damage is gonna add to it a bit. I feel like we'll be able to figure out a number, like a certain amount of HP burns into destroying all the spiderlings, and how many 10% we need at the end to finish it off. You know? I feel like there's something there. Like, I feel like you can make up the 100% for the 2% on the burn, the 3% for killing the spiderlings, and then whatever is left with 10% finish them off. Doesn't this content drop just make all dungeons obsolete though? Yeah, if you're endgame, then it makes all the end dungeons basically useless to do. Although, if you're farming up brand new, we'll have to see what the numbers are. If you want to do like 1 to 20, and then rather than going to 20 to 25, you go move on to hard sort of thing. So maybe something like that. You go 1 to 20 on normal. Going up to 25 on normal might be not it, and then you move to hard, and then you do like 1 and 10 and whatever on hard. But we'll have to look into the numbers much more closely. Will the affinity of these bosses change day to day like Iron Twins? I don't think so. I think it's going to rotate more like the bosses do per stage, not per day. All the bosses are basically the same as the normal versions, but they're now just immune to something that they weren't before. Yeah, they're looking to kind of increase the stats and how much damage and how much HP they have, and then also trying to change how the fights look, right? Right now, they're going to change from like HP burn, full HP burn meta on Spider. They're going to go away from turn meter reduction on Fire Knight and maybe start like a different sort of meta. Why would you build a Spider burn team if you can't use it in hard mode though? It does depend on the stats, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't completely write off burn strategies, chat room. I wouldn't completely write off burn strategies. Like, burn is still giving you 20% damage. It was giving you 33% before, but it's still the best single champion damage that you're going to get. 20% damage is not nothing. It's not 33% damage, but 20% damage is... It still could be a viable thing to use. I could be wrong. Triple combust plus enemy max HP easy spider. You can use burn team in spider. Yeah, I mean, reading this sounds like it can be done. I think this is better than stage 30 dungeons though. Yeah, I agree. This approach feels better than just going, okay, we'll go dungeon 30. 26 to 30. I think this is a better way of improving it. And just use enough deals. Exactly. Just pull more deals. Pull more deals. Okay. So that's 2 of the bosses done. 2 of the bosses looked at. It's hard to nuke the spiderlings in stage 25. If you have a champion like Sisia, if you're detonating HP burns, roundabout on the 3rd turn, the spiderlings are ready to die anyway. You know? Like, if you see this run, when I get to my 3rd Sisia, you'll see the HP on the spiderlings is going to be within that 1-shot range. So when you see it, you'll know. Yeah. Now at this point, the spiderlings just die. You see, all of the spiderlings are dead, and the main spider is dead. So you could do something like that. You can also make your Sisia with the first Sisia that takes a turn. You can give her like high accuracy, so she lands decreased defense and weaken on the spiderlings to do more damage or less damage, you know. So it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be doable, but we'll see. Nuke Iggy would go Burr as well. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Tainted Hellrazor. So this is gonna be our new dragon. New dragon replacing last Hellrazor. Would be funny if in the starting tutorial they should put this Hellrazor in. Although I don't think Plarium are going to be bothered that much. But, you know, if Tainted Hellrazor becomes the dungeon that the starter champions run into, that'd be tight. And rather than Elaine, eat somebody else now. Eat like Kale or something. You know? Eat Kale or eat Gaelic or Aethel. Leave Elaine alone. Eat Kale, he's stinky. Eating Kale would be funny. Eating Kale would be funny. Eats all, that's cold. That is cold. He eats, no, well, then you won't have a fight. If he eats all of them, then you won't then you won't have a fight. You know? Maybe he eats all of them or kills all of them, and then you have an arbiter on your team. Can't eat Gaelic, he's the image of the game. Okay, eat everybody but Gaelic, you know? Just sell Gaelic more. Sell Gaelic harder. We need more Gaelic mains. Anyway, looking at this champion's kit. Almighty Strength, passive. Enemy max HP can't do more than 10%. We know that. Awakened Weakness. Damage inflicted, increased, and damage taken, decreased based on your awakening stat or awakening level. We know that. Tainted Immunity, Stun, Freeze, Sleep, Provoke, Block Active, Block Passives, Fear, True Fear, Petrification, doesn't work. HP Balancing, Exchanging, Cooldown Increasing, doesn't work. Okay. Moving on to his first ability. Toxic Incineration. Attacks all enemies. This attack deals pure damage. Okay. So pure damage is basically ignore 100% defense. Ignore buffs. I want to say it's going to ignore strengthen too, but I could be wrong. But deals pure damage is definitely ignore 100% defense. Places a stun debuff for 1 turn. This debuff can be resisted. Is the pure damage thing the same thing on the other side too? On Scorch or whatever it's called? Scorch attacks all enemies, places stun. This skill will be locked and hidden again if the dragon takes enough damage while this skill is unlocked. No. Fully depletes the target's turn meter. Unlocks a secret skill, Scorch. Okay, well, he didn't do pure damage before. So now he's doing pure damage. That's going to be interesting. Pure damage, huh? Bit scary, but okay. The stun cannot be resisted. The stun on Scorch couldn't be resisted neither. Or could it? I don't think you could. Instantly activates 5% poison debuffs on each target. The damage received by each target depends on how many more turns the poison debuffs placed on them would be active. Wait, what? Instantly activates 5%, any 5% poison debuffs on each target. The damage received by each target depends on how many more turns the poison debuffs placed on them would be active. Okay. Instantly activates 5% poison debuffs. The damage by targets. So is it just detonating all the poisons, or why are they worded like this? Is there something in the wording? The damage received by each target depends on how many more turns the poison debuffs placed on them would be active. Are they just explaining poison detonation on how it works? I guess, but sure, if you say the poison's gonna fully detonate and it's like 2 stacks, we know it's gonna be 10%. But I guess they're explaining it. If there's 3 stacks of 5% poisons and he detonates them, you'll take 15% poison? Question mark? I think that's what they're getting at. What's the release on the hard dungeons? We'll look into that after we read the kit. Once we're done, we'll look into that. Okay. Last part of his Toxic Incineration. This skill will be locked and hidden again if Tainted Hellrazor takes enough damage while this skill is unlocked. Okay, so he's only gonna do this ability if you don't do enough damage to him in time, right? He'll only do this ability, like he'll get like a HP that you need to break through. I can imagine breaking through this HP might be tougher with just one champion. This is going to be much tougher than normal dragon. So we'll see how many poisons or how much HP you need to like kind of chunk through to stop this from happening. Okay. Draconic Gaze. Fully depletes the turn meter of all enemies, unlocks a secret skill, Toxic Incineration. So this is basically the same thing, right? The setup. Inhale is now changed to Draconic Gaze. And Toxic Incineration was Old Scorch. So that's kind of like the setup where he decreases your turn meter and then he puts up the HP that you need to break through, or he's going to do this ability. And attacks all enemies. So Mephitic Fire attacks all enemies, places 4 poison debuffs for 3 turns and a weaken for 2 turns. Also places increased attack. Oh, that increased attack is scary. Increased attack is a bit spooky. I guess you could strip it, you could block buff it. Yeah. But the increased attack is a bit scary. I don't think you'd be able to solo this boss with like Ninja or Dark KO or anything like that. Maybe. We'll have to see. But I highly doubt it. All those squishy speed farmers, like speed killers of the boss, they're not going to work. You're going to need like a Bad Alcazar. You're going to need either a Theo, a Crizia. A Crizia probably still be able to do it because she takes 50% less damage and stuff. But it's going to be interesting. Dark KO makes them not crit though. I think even through a non-crit, he would probably get smoked. And you don't really... I guess you could take the decreased attack from Dark KO. You can take the decreased attack. The affinity is going to be another question. If it's a red affinity, he should still have his crit rate. Depends on which affinity is the hardest stage, but we'll see. High resist maybe. Yeah, we're probably still going to take the resist on this boss. You're not going to want to take the weaken and the poison. Increased attack, you're just going to have to tank. And then A1 attacks all enemies. Decreased attack for 2 turns. This is the same thing. Withering Swipe, he does this already. This thing he has already, but he never used to do increased attack. The increased attack is new. He used to do the poisons and the weaken before. Poisons and weaken used to be his thing, right? Attacks all enemies, places 2 poisons for 3 turns and a weaken for 2 turns. And now it's going to be 4 poisons for 3 turns and weaken for 2 turns. So the weaken's the same, but the poison's gone from 2 to 4 and the turns 3, right? So he does more poisons, debuff for weaken is the same, and now he's doing increased attack. And then swipe is the same. Remember when we got Bommel and he had insane accuracy stats? It could be something similar. This could have been something that was setting up for, right? Bommel has like 750 accuracy, so resisting him is just a nightmare. It could be like that. But this is the new Tainted Hellrazor. He looks pretty similar. Okay, there are changes. He probably has the same amount of changes, but I don't think this fight is going to play out much different to how it used to play out. The first change that we saw from Tainted Fyro, I think this fight is going to completely change the way it looks, right? Even though the change in Terminator reduction is, you know, big or small, whatever you want to call it, but this is definitely going to change how the fight looks. Tainted Skavag, I wouldn't be surprised if this is still like a HP burn, enemy max HP meta, but like Tainted Hellrazor, I don't think there's going to be too much of a change in how this fight looks. I still think Dio and Bad El Khazal will be able to solo it. I still think you still be able to run the Seer team into the boss. You can still do this. You can still kill the boss with one champion, depending on damage and depending on your gear. But yeah, I don't think this fight is going to change too much on how it looks or how you would go about it. You just increase your stats. Don't bring Ninja, don't bring Dark Kale, but bring actual tanky champions and kill the boss. Tomb Lord would be interesting since Tomb Lord does decrease attack. Dark Kale is good because you can land decrease attack from Dark Kale, so maybe that gives him like increased survivability. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what would be the best champions for this. But I don't think Tainted Hellrazor is going to be much different. Same thing with Skavag. Skavag and Tainted Hellrazor would look the same. And Tainted Klyssus, let's take a look at our new ice column. I should show you guys as we go along what they look like. Let me show you guys how these guys are going to look like. So these are renders for official CCs. If we make guides, we can use these. Plarium kind of provides these to official CCs. So this is the image, you know, you're going to start seeing popping up on YouTube and stuff when content creators make guides and stuff. This is the sort of pictures they're going to be using. They look cool. This is cool. Plarium don't have to do this, but it's cool that they do. We could just use these renders. They're like high quality renders. I normally send these to my thumbnail maker, and they kind of use them in the guides. You're gonna need 2 TOs instead of 1. The old Blizzard slide here and saturation slider skin. Yeah, they look pretty much similar. They just made them darker. Let's give this guy some purple. Give this guy some green and blue. Add some gray to this. Okay. Tainted Klyssus. The last boss that we're going to be looking at today. The new ice column. Passives, Almighty Strength, enemy max HP can't do 10%. Awaken Weakness, Tainted, Stun, Freeze, Provoke, all that good stuff. Okay. Looking into his own kit. Now, Winter's Power. I'm really interested to see if with this boss, how would the fight change? This boss's power comes from his ignored defense when the 2 allies are alive or the 2 minions are alive. So it'd be interesting to see how they change this fight. The meta used to be that you couldn't proc his passive if you did damage based on poisons or burn or something like that. But now we'll see how we have to do this fight. Okay, so Winter's Power. Immune to poisons and poison sensitivity debuffs, receives 10% more damage from HP burn debuffs. Okay, so they want to go towards burns rather than poisons. Poisons just been deleted, I guess. Poisons deleted, HP burns back in. 10% more damage. I guess. 10% of 3%. 10% of 3% is not really much, but I guess they're just like putting that in the kit, so they want you to kind of be like, okay, HP burn. But 10% of 3% is, you know, not it. But we'll see. Whenever a HP burn debuff is activated on Tainted Klyssus, or his minions destroys the minion's max HP by 5%. Whenever a smite debuff is activated on Tainted Klyssus, or his minions destroys the minion's max HP by 10%. Destroyed max HP cannot exceed 50%. Okay, so the minions have less HP, or they have their HP destroyed when burn activates. It just means it'll be easier to get rid of the minions. I guess. Sure. These minions do get revived if you ever proc his passive. So if they get revived, they're going to be revived with a destroyed max HP. So I like that kind of mechanic, where he doesn't just get like full value on the HP if the revive procs. And the revive is going to be proccing a lot more because this fight's going to be much slower. Poisons would do a chunk of damage, but now you can't do poisons, and you can only land one burn debuff per enemy, right? So it'd be interesting. Dreng is going to be a good champion for this. Hopefully Dreng is good affinity. Dreng has the burn and the burn detonation. Ninja has the burn and the burn detonation. So good champions there. Sissy is another one that has burn detonation. So we'll have to see. All of them are different affinity, right? Ninja's blue, Drang is green, and Sissy is red. So we do have options. Well, those are the only three we have. This is the new Ice Golem. This Chronum, yeah, Chronum's another one. You actually want to keep him alive to keep the minions. So you actually want to keep the minions alive to actually activate the boss within 10 minutes. And then decrease max HP even reduces the damage the boss takes. Yeah, keeping the minions alive would actually be good now that I'm thinking about it. But you don't really want to get slapped though, no? Wait, where's his passive? Wait, does he not have the passive anymore? No, he does. Frozen Reckoning. He used to call it Frigid Vengeance, right? Now it's Frozen Reckoning. Okay, here's the passive we all know and love. The passive that ends Ice Golem runs. The AoE hit when he drops below a HP percentage threshold. Attacks all enemies one time. Whenever Tainted Klyssus HP drops below 80%. Wait, hold on. Attacks all enemies one time. Okay, that's fine. Attacks all enemies one time. I was thinking maybe they coded that to be a single target hit. But I don't think so. I don't think that's a single target hit. I think it's still AoE. I don't know. The way they wrote the one time concerns me. I was thinking maybe like things like Stalwart or Defiant would kind of not get benefit if he was doing single target hits. But it looks like it's an AoE. Whenever you tickle him, he ends you. Attacks all enemies. Whenever Tainted Klyssus HP drops below 80%, 60%, 45%, 30%, and 15%. Is that the same? Or have they added a threshold? Did the 80% always used to be there? Yeah. 80, 60, 45, 30, 15. Oh god, how hard is he going to hit? This attack will revive any dead allies to 100% HP. This attack will ignore 50% of each enemy's defense for each ally alive. This attack will revive any dead allies to 100% HP. But if it's destroyed, it will be 100% of the remaining HP. Which would mean the destroyed HP would still be destroyed. You just revive them whatever they got left, fully healed. This attack will ignore enemy defense for each ally alive. This attack also has a 20% chance of placing a freeze debuff for one turn. The chance of placing freeze debuff increases by 40% for each ally alive. Okay. So it's the same shit. It's basically the same thing. I don't think there's anything that's changed here. Basically the same. I don't know why they changed the name. So threshold's the same. Ignore defense is the same. 20% chance for the freeze. Yeah, it's literally the same thing. Word for word. Word for word, the same thing. I don't think there's anything different about this ability. 50%? Okay, okay. It goes from 40% to 50%? Or was it 50%? No. Ignore defense 50%. Yeah, it's the same stuff. Fully copy paste.
Disappointed!
Alright, cool. Debilitating Frost. Attacks all enemies, places decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. Decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 30%. Also removes all debuffs from Tainted Klyssus. Decrease accuracy, decreasing the turn meter, and cleanse. Okay. Alright, I guess he cleansed now. Huge. Decrease accuracy. Now he does decrease turn meter and cleanse. Oh boy. Cleanse is a bit cheap. That's a bit cheap. That's really cheap. Why have they done that then? I don't know. I think that's really cheap. The fact that they gave him this passive where he procs the counter or whatever you want to call. But the fact that he cleanses himself so he can't take HP burn, it's pretty funny. They're like cheap and annoying. It's funny. It is funny, but it's fine. Block reviving might be back on table, boys. Maybe Plarium wanted to be the block revive kind of fight. Maybe Plarium wanted the block revive kind of fight. Maybe Lydia or something. I don't know. Rotos probably be back on the table, yeah. Block revive plus a low Keg W. Let's hope they add a HP burn champ that places burn that cannot be removed. What about like somebody like Rat? What about Rat? Rat landing all the bombs and then turning them into poisons and landing decreased attack and detonating the bombs? Rat is poisons? Oh yeah, poisons don't land. Yeah, poisons won't land. Yeah, you're right. Immune to poisons. Alright. He has attack down as well? No, he does, yeah. Immune to poisons. If poisons were a thing, I guess a lot of the champions would be a thing, but I guess he's immune to poisons, so that won't work. Rat no good. Rat washed up. Is finished. And A1 Glacial Eruption. Attacks all enemies. So just an AoE hit. So that's Tainted Klyssus. This fight, I would say, it looks different too. This fight is gonna look different. Maybe enemy max H, not many enemy max HP. Block revive could be a thing. No more poisons, so no bad Alcazar solos. It's gonna be more like a burn sort of situation. Ninja could be good if you can get him tanky enough. Dreng would be the guy I want to say is gonna be good. Dreng placing AoE burns, then detonating the burns would be good. Yeah, I think Dreng is just the guy. I think Dreng is the guy for this, right? Because he's going to land AoE burns and then he's going to proc the burns with his A1. Let's just hope Dreng doesn't have bad affinity matchup. Oh god. Let's hope Dreng doesn't have bad affinity. He is HP based. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He has massive HP. And even if you weak hit a few times, I still think he'd probably be one of the better options. Level 10's all void. Tight. If level 10 is all void, that's tight. If level 10 is all void, that's tight. But yeah, Dreng looks like the champion for this. But yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts on the new dungeons. Let me know what you guys think.